My name is Isabella Torres and I'm 32 years old. 3 weeks before Thanksgiving, my mother called with news that left me stunned. I was no longer invited to the family dinner. The reason? My sister's wealthy boyfriend might feel embarrassed by my blue-collar profession. A kindergarten teacher, she said, as though the words themselves were unpleasant to say. Sophia needs to make the right impression. What they didn't know, what none of them knew, was the truth about who I really was. 5 days after that Thanksgiving dinner, they stood at my doorstep, pale and frantic, demanding explanations. The boyfriend had uncovered something that changed everything. Something that would shatter my sister's perfect world in front of 500 witnesses. Before we go further, take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story speaks to you. And share your location and local time if you've ever been labeled the disappointment of your family. It all began with that phone call 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. I'd been teaching kindergarten in Queens for 8 years. My one-bedroom apartment swallowed half my paycheck, but I adored my work. 25 5-year-olds called me Miss Bella, and their sticky-fingered hugs were worth more than money could buy. My sister Sophia would disagree. She lived in a Manhattan penthouse costing more per month than I earned in 3. As a marketing director for a boutique firm, she collected Hermes bags the way I collected children's drawings. Her Cartier tank watch, which she once called a small bonus, cost more than my car. Our mother's Facebook page might as well have been Sophia's fan account. My daughter just closed another $1 million deal. Sophia's presentation to the board was brilliant. In 5 years, I appeared in exactly 3 photos, always somewhere in the background. Isabella is smart enough, Mom would tell her friends, but she lacks ambition. Some people are meant for simpler things. The family hierarchy had been decided early. Sophia got the master bedroom growing up. I got the converted attic. Her achievements covered the refrigerator. Mine were quietly placed in a drawer. We don't want her to feel bad, Dad would whisper as he slid my honor roll certificate out of sight whenever Sophia brought home anything less than perfect. But I had a secret, one I'd kept for 2 years since Grandma Eleanor died. She had raised me more than my parents ever did. She held my hand in her final months while Sophia was too busy to visit. Eleanor Torres, the retired bookkeeper everyone believed lived off Social Security. No one knew about the documents locked in my safe. No one knew about the empire she had built quietly in the shadows. And no one knew why she had chosen me to protect it. His name is Marcus Stone, Sophia announced during our October family Zoom call. He's an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, the kind of man who changes the world. My mother practically squealed. Stone? The Stone Foundation family? She gasped. Sophia tilted her laptop to display more of her penthouse background. We met at the Waterford Crystal exhibition. He said I have excellent taste. I nearly choked on my tea. Marcus Stone. Of course I knew that name. But I kept my expression neutral, my kindergarten teacher's smile firmly in place. He must be very successful, Dad said, already calculating future son-in-law potential. Successful. Sophia laughed with that delicate, rehearsed sound from her Swiss finishing school days. Daddy, he manages hundreds of millions in charitable funds. Old money, hospital wing money. I watched my parents lean toward the screen, already picturing weddings at the plaza, grandchildren in elite schools, and a family name elevated beyond their dreams. When do we meet him? Mom asked breathlessly. Thanksgiving, Sophia said. I want everything perfect. The house, the meal. Then her eyes locked onto mine through the screen. The guest list. That familiar look. The one that said I was an inconvenience to be handled. I thought of Grandma Eleanor. Of long afternoons in Sunny Meadows nursing home, where she lived by choice, not necessity. People show you who they are when they believe you have nothing, she once told me, her weathered hands graceful as she signed documents I helped review. Remember that, Isabella. Especially with family. She had been right about silence. About letting others underestimate you. About patience. I didn't yet know how soon I'd need all 3 lessons, or that Marcus Stone would become the key to everything. Grandma Eleanor understood me in ways my parents never tried to. While they praised Sophia's MBA, Eleanor sat with me in her modest room, teaching me compound interest and charitable tax law over afternoon tea. Your sister collects handbags, she said once, watching Sophia's Instagram story. You collect hearts. Which do you think lasts longer? Eleanor Torres had built her fortune quietly and anonymously. Few knew the Eleanor Torres Foundation existed, let alone that it controlled $40 million in assets. She started with nothing, a widow at 30 with 2 children juggling 3 jobs. By 70, she was secretly funding scholarships, food banks, and teacher support programs across New York. Sophia visited once this year, Eleanor noted 6 months before she died. Stayed 12 minutes. Asked about my will at minute 10. I had been there every Sunday for 2 years. Not for money, I hadn't known there was any, but because she was the only family member who truly saw me. The papers are with Whitman and Associates, she told me in her final month, voice steady despite the cancer. Everything's arranged. Just remember, money doesn't create character. It only magnifies it. I assumed she meant a modest inheritance. Maybe jewelry. I signed paperwork as her healthcare proxy, thinking I was only handling medical decisions. 2 weeks after her funeral, James Whitman himself called me. That's when I learned about the foundation, the board position, the conditions written into every cent of the inheritance. Your grandmother was very specific, he said, sliding documents across his mahogany desk. She believed in testing character when people didn't know they were being tested. I kept everything secret for 2 years. Watching. Waiting. Now the test was about to begin. The call came November 3rd. 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. Mom's contact photo, her and Sophia in the Hamptons, lit up my phone during lunch break. Isabella, she began. About Thanksgiving, we've had to make some adjustments. I set down my peanut butter sandwich. Adjustments. You won't be coming this year. Outside my classroom window, children laughed on the playground. I focused on their joy while my mother explained. Marcus is from a very prominent family. Sophia needs to make the right impression. And, she paused, gathering the courage for cruelty, your job might give the wrong idea about our family's standing. My job teaching children? I asked calmly. You know what I mean. So blue collar. Marcus mingles with CEOs, investors, people who matter. What would you even talk about? Finger painting. I heard Dad clear his throat in the background. On speaker. Silent. Complicit. Is this Sophia's request or yours? I asked. Does it matter? We all want what's best for Sophia. This could change everything for our family. And then I heard it. Sophia laughing in the background, not bothering to hide her presence. So just to be clear, I said, my teacher's voice steady, I'm being uninvited from Thanksgiving because my career embarrasses Sophia. Don't be dramatic, Mom replied. It's only one dinner. Next year will be different once they're engaged. I understand, I said. You do. Mom sounded surprised, maybe even disappointed I wasn't fighting. Give everyone my best. I hung up before she could reply. My hands weren't shaking. Grandma Eleanor had taught me that too. Never let them see you bleed. My phone buzzed immediately. A text from Sophia. It's nothing personal. You understand, right? This is my shot at real happiness. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my safe and pulled out a folder labeled Eleanor Torres Foundation Succession Protocols. Inside was a sticky note in Grandma's handwriting. When they show you who they are, believe them. Sophia called again an hour later. Probably afraid my silence meant rebellion, I knew Mom would twist things to sound worse than they were. Sophia's voice dripped with fake sympathy as she said, I figured she'd overreact. But Isabella, be realistic. You earn $40,000 a year teaching snot-nosed kids. Marcus's watch costs more than your annual salary. I'm aware of income differences, I replied calmly. Are you, Sophia? Because sometimes I wonder if you actually understand the real world. The world I'm entering, she shot back. Marcus's world. It's about influence, power, connections. What would you contribute? Cute little stories about playground drama. I let her continue. Sometimes silence is the most effective lesson. His circle includes Fortune 500 CEOs, ambassadors, people who vacation with senators. And you'd show up in your Target dress talking about lesson plans and parent-teacher meetings. Can you imagine how that reflects on me? You're right, I said softly. I don't belong in that world. Finally, some sense, she replied with relief. Look, it's not permanent. Once Marcus and I are married, once I'm established, we'll ease you in. Small dinners first. We'll coach you on what to say, what to wear. That's generous, I murmured. I'm trying to help you, Isabella. This is my shot at real happiness. Real success. Don't you want that for me? I want you to be happy, Sophia. Then stay away from Thanksgiving. And don't even think about just showing up. I'll have you removed if necessary. The threat hung between us. My baby sister, the one I used to walk to school, the one who cried in my arms over broken hearts, was now threatening to have security drag me out of our family home. Understood, I said. Enjoy your dinner. After she hung up, I opened my laptop and logged into the foundation's board portal. The calendar loaded. Annual Gala, November 29th. 3 days after Thanksgiving. 500 guests. Full media coverage. Perfect. That night I opened my safe and spread the documents across my kitchen table. The will. The board appointment letter. The share certificates. Each page pristine, notarized, undeniable. Eleanor's will was a masterpiece of foresight. The family inheritance, $15 million and 3 properties, came with one unbreakable condition. The beneficiary must demonstrate consistent kindness and must not discriminate based on social or economic status. Subsection 7.3 caught my attention every time. Any deliberate exclusion of family members based on profession, income, or social standing will result in immediate forfeiture of all claims. She had even included examples, including but not limited to refusing family invitations due to embarrassment over honest work. My phone buzzed. An email from James Whitman. Ms. Torres, confirming your attendance at the gala. The board is eager to formally introduce you. I replied, I'll be there. Please ensure media coverage includes the foundation history segment. Of course, he answered. Your grandmother's video message will play after your introduction. The video? I had almost forgotten. For the right moment, Eleanor had said when she recorded it, I opened the foundation website and clicked the board of directors page. There I was. Isabella Torres, chairman of the board. Appointed by founder Eleanor Torres, 2023. My photo was missing by my own request, but my name was unmistakable. Marcus Stone would recognize exactly who I was the moment he did his due diligence, if he hadn't already. For a brief second, I considered calling Sophia to warn her. Then I remembered her words. Don't even think about showing up. Fine. I wouldn't show up to Thanksgiving. But the gala? That was business. I sent another email to the event coordinator. Please add 5 names to the guest list. The Torres family. Send the invitations directly to me. I'll deliver them personally. Grandma always said revenge was beneath us. But justice? Justice was everything. If you've ever been excluded by family who thought you weren't good enough, leave a comment. Your story matters. And don't forget to subscribe. The twist ahead changes everything. Thanksgiving arrived gray and drizzling that I ordered Chinese food from Mr. Lu's, orange chicken and lo mein for one. My phone stayed silent until mid-afternoon, when Sophia's Instagram story appeared. My parents' dining room had been transformed. Crystal glasses I'd never seen. New gold-rimmed china. Fresh orchids at every place setting. Sophia posed beside Marcus, hands carefully placed to show off a diamond tennis bracelet. Definitely new. Perfect family dinner with my love, the caption read. Grateful for family who understand what really matters. #bless future stones. Marcus looked uncomfortable. His smile didn't reach his eyes. In one candid shot, he stared at an empty chair, my chair, with a furrowed brow. A text popped up from my friend Jennifer. Saw Sophia's post. Why aren't you in any photos? Scheduling conflict. I replied. On Thanksgiving. Isabella, what really happened? I didn't answer. Instead, I kept scrolling. Mom posted too. So proud of my successful daughter and her wonderful boyfriend. The future is bright. 23 comments praised Sophia and Marcus as the perfect couple. My cousin Amy wrote, Where's Isabella? Sophia replied, She had other plans. You know how dedicated teachers are to their work. The lie came easily to her. That night my fortune cookie read, Patience is bitter but its fruit is sweet. Mr. Lu always had impeccable timing. I folded the fortune and slid it into my wallet beside the gala invitation I'd soon be delivering. 3 days. 72 hours. Until everything changed. My phone buzzed again, unknown number. I almost ignored it. Something made me answer. Isabella Torres? The voice was careful. Professional. Yes. This is Marcus Stone. We need to talk. I didn't have to wait long to see the results of that conversation. 5 days after Thanksgiving at 7 in the morning, someone pounded on my apartment door like they were raising the dead. Through the peephole I saw my parents. Mom's perfect hair was disheveled. Dad's face was red. Either anger or climbing 3 flights of stairs. I opened the door wearing my teaching clothes, khakis and a cardigan with alphabet buttons. Good morning. What did you do? Mom shoved past me without invitation. What did you say to Marcus? I haven't spoken to Marcus. Not a lie. He had done all the talking. Don't play dumb, Dad snapped, slamming the door behind him. He broke up with Sophia yesterday. At brunch. In public. I poured myself coffee, noting with irony that they had never once visited my apartment before. It took a family crisis to get them here. That must be upsetting for her, I said. Upsetting? Mom's voice shot up. He walked into the foundation office and saw your portrait. Your portrait, Isabella. Chairman of the board. Ah, so that's how he found out. Why didn't you tell us? Dad demanded. How could you hide this? The same way you hid uninviting me to Thanksgiving. That's different. Is it? You didn't want me there because my job embarrassed Sophia. Because I was too blue-collar for her rich boyfriend. Your words, Mom. Sophia's devastated. Mom hissed. She says you sabotaged her. I did nothing. Marcus discovered the truth on his own. Fix this, Dad ordered, slipping into his bank executive tone. Call Marcus. Tell him you'll resign. Whatever it takes. No. Mom's face drained of color. Your sister's happiness meant more to you than my dignity. I understand that now. But I won't lie or resign to fix what Sophia destroyed herself. I set down my coffee. You want the whole truth? Come to the foundation gala tomorrow night. Everything will be explained. What gala? Mom asked. I handed them the embossed invitations. The Eleanor Torres Foundation Annual Gala. Black tie. 8 p.m. The Ritz-Carlton. Mom stared at Grandma's name in elegant script. Bring Sophia, I said. She'll want to hear this. They left clutching the invitations like lifelines or grenades. The family assault began within hours. Sophia stormed into my school during afternoon pickup. Mascara streaked down her cheeks despite her claims of waterproof perfection. How could you? She wailed, not caring that parents stared. You've always been jealous of me. I'm working, I said, guiding my last student safely to her mother, maintaining my professional smile. You poisoned him against me. You told him lies. I've never spoken to Marcus about you. Liar. He said he can't be with someone ashamed of their own family. Where would he get that idea? From you, but I didn't say it aloud. Mom called while Sophia was still ranting. Your father and I discussed this. You need to step down from whatever position you have. Sophia deserves this chance at happiness. And I deserve to spend Thanksgiving with my family. You're being petty, Isabella. This is about consequences, I replied. Dad took the phone. Be reasonable. Sophia worked hard for her success. Teaching kindergarten isn't the same as. I hung up. Sophia grabbed my arm. I'll contest the will. I'll prove you manipulated Grandma. With what evidence? I asked quietly. She had dementia. And that was when I smiled for the first time in days. Because the gala was tomorrow night. And the truth was already written, signed, sealed, and recorded. 6 months before Grandma ever got sick. She had cancer. Her mind was perfect until the end. Every document was witnessed by medical professionals. You turned her against me. You visited her once in 2 years, Sophia, for 12 minutes. Her face crumbled then, real tears finally flowing. For a moment I saw my little sister, the one who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. Please, she whispered. I love him. Then you should have been honest with him. I'll do anything. Come to the gala tomorrow. Listen to what Grandma had to say. Then we'll see. She left without another word, but I knew she'd be there. The possibility of salvaging her fortune would ensure it. Marcus called that evening. I recognized his voice. Immediately. Measured, thoughtful, nothing like the entitled air Sophia had described. Ms. Torres, I apologize for the ambush. I needed to understand who you really were. And your staff speaks highly of you. 12 teachers mentioned you've personally covered their supply costs. The principal says you volunteer every weekend for the breakfast program. That's my job. No, that's your character. Which makes me wonder why Sophia told me you were unemployed, living off family money. Said nothing. Sometimes silence is the most honest response. She said you were bitter about her success, he continued. That you'd been institutionalized for depression, that the family had to exclude you from events because you caused scenes. Each lie was a small knife. I'd had no idea how thoroughly she'd erased me. When I saw your portrait at the foundation, your grandmother's foundation, I realized I'd been deceived. But I need to know why you didn't tell me yourself. Would you have believed me? Or would you have thought I was the jealous sister Sophia described? A long pause. You wanted me to discover it myself. I wanted you to know who you were really dating. Someone who could erase her own sister for social gain. She's been calling non-stop, he admitted. Begging for another chance. Saying you've poisoned her family against her. I've done nothing except exist inconveniently. Will you be at the gala? I'm the chairman. I have to give a speech. Sophia will be there. She's desperate to maintain her connection to the foundation's donors. I know this could destroy her professionally. No, Mr. Stone. She destroyed herself. I'm simply refusing to hide it anymore. He was quiet for a moment. Your grandmother must have been remarkable. She was. And she believed in accountability. I'll see you tomorrow night, Ms. Torres. Marcus, bring your board members. They should hear this too. After he hung up, I opened my speech notes. 24 hours until truth met consequences. At midnight, my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, Sophia stood in designer sweats, her face swollen but determined. We need to talk, she said as I opened the door. I let her in. She had never visited before. Her eyes scanned my modest apartment, the teaching awards, the student artwork, the photos of Grandma Eleanor and me. Nice place, she said, her tone suggesting otherwise. Very you. What do you want, Sophia? Her tears vanished instantly. I know about the inheritance. What inheritance? Don't play dumb. 15 million. The properties. It's in the will, isn't it? How do you know that? I have friends at Whitman and Associates. Illegal but effective. She smirked. And I'm the rightful heir. I represent this family professionally. And you need it for what? More Hermes backs. You don't understand the circles I move in. The image I must maintain. You're happy being nobody. I'm happy being myself. God, you're sanctimonious. She paced just like Grandma used to. Always judging me for wanting more. She never judged you, I said. She just saw you. What's that supposed to mean? Come to the gala. You'll understand. I'll contest the will. I'll claim you manipulated her. Try it. She stepped closer, voice low. Or we make a deal. You resign from the foundation. Support my inheritance claim. I'll take care of you. 1 million tax-free. No, 2 million. Sophia, there's something you should know. Grandma left a video message for the gala. Her face turned white. What kind of message? The kind that explains everything. Including why she made her choices. Tomorrow, everyone will see it. She left without another word, but her perfume lingered. Tom Ford, expensive and suffocating, just like her love. The morning of the gala, I sat in my empty classroom, staring at Eleanor's photo on my desk. Was I doing the right thing? Or just being vindictive? My phone showed 37 missed calls. Family members. Old friends. People suddenly interested in my life. The family group chat, one I'd been removed from, had exploded. Cousin Amy sent screenshots. Isabella is trying to steal Sophia's inheritance. She manipulated Grandma. Always knew she was bitter about being the failure. Failure because I taught children instead of selling luxury brands to people who didn't need them. I almost called James Whitman to cancel everything. Let Sophia have the money. Let my parents keep their golden child. Let me fade quietly into the background. Then I looked at the wall of student photos, 25 bright faces who believed Miss Bella could do anything, who didn't care that my car was old or my clothes came from Target. I opened my desk drawer and found Grandma's note from her last day. Stand up for what's right, even if you stand alone. I'm trying, Grandma, I whispered. My phone buzzed. Marcus. Major donors have confirmed attendance. Whatever you're planning, it will have an audience. James Whitman. Video equipment tested. Legal team on standby. Your grandmother would be proud. 6 hours until the gala. I looked at my dress hanging on the door. Navy blue. Simple. Borrowed from Jennifer. Nothing like the designer gowns that would fill the ballroom. But Grandma had taught me something important. It's not the dress that matters. It's the documentation in your briefcase. And mine was bulletproof. The gala was about to change everything. If you want to see how it ends, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. You won't want to miss what happens when truth meets power. 3 hours before the gala, I met James Whitman in his office. The conference table was covered in documents, each tagged and numbered. Your grandmother was meticulous, he said, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. Every contingency covered, every loophole closed. She knew this might happen. She recognized your sister's behavioral patterns. He pulled out a tablet. The video was recorded 6 months before her passing. 3 witnesses were present, myself, Dr. Patterson, and Judge Reynolds. All verified her mental clarity. She even completed a cognitive assessment that morning. Perfect score. The other board members arrived, Mrs. Stone, Dr. Williams, and Ms. Rodriguez. They had worked with Eleanor for years, funding scholarships and food programs across the city. We're behind you, Isabella, Mrs. Stone said firmly. Your grandmother chose well. The media will be there, Dr. Williams added. 3 major outlets confirmed. That's the point, I said. No more hiding. No more secrets. James handed me another envelope. Board meeting minutes from when you were appointed. Your sister will claim manipulation. This proves the board voted unanimously. Based on what? Your grandmother's recommendation, and your own record. Did you know she had you investigated? Every volunteer hour, every dollar spent on students, every weekend at the food bank. It's all documented. I hadn't known. Even in death, Eleanor was still teaching me preparation. One more thing, James said, placing a sealed folder in front of me. If Sophia contests the will, this gets opened. Your grandmother called it the nuclear option. What's inside? I don't know. She sealed it herself. But she said it would end any challenge immediately. I placed it in my briefcase, hoping I'd never need it. My phone buzzed. Sophia. I'll be there. We're settling this once and for all. Yes, I thought. We certainly are. By 5 p.m., Sophia had launched her campaign, Instagram, Facebook, even LinkedIn, spreading the same story. Her jealous, unstable sister trying to steal family money through elder abuse. Some people can't stand to see others succeed, she posted. Mental health issues are serious. I hope Isabella gets the help she needs. The post ended and the comments flooded in. Her carefully built network rushed to her defense. Marketing executives, fashion bloggers, wellness influencers she had spent years cultivating. All expressing shock, sympathy, and outrage on her behalf. They echoed her story of betrayal by family. Mom called next. Furious. What have you done? Sophia's reputation is everything to her. And my dignity meant nothing to you? Stop this vendetta. Call off whatever you're planning. Come to the gala, Mom. 8 o'clock. Sophia says you're going to humiliate her. No. I'm going to tell the truth. Dad took the phone. Isabella, be reasonable. We're a family. Are we? Because families don't uninvite each other from holidays for being too poor. Silence. That was a mistake, he said finally. We see that now. Only because I have something Sophia wants. I hung up and turned off my phone. The noise no longer mattered. Jennifer arrived carrying my dress and makeup bag. You sure about this? She asked. They excluded me for being a teacher. Called my job embarrassing. Said I'd humiliate them in front of Marcus's important friends. Now they'll learn that Grandma's important friends have been funding teachers all along. That the foundation they're desperate to control exists specifically to support the people they look down on. Poetic justice. No justice backed by documentation. I glanced at the clock. 2 hours until the curtain rose. 2 hours until 28 years of being the family disappointment finally meant something. Help me with the zipper, I said to Jennifer. It's time to stop hiding. An hour before the gala, I stood in the Ritz-Carlton preparation room, reviewing my speech one last time. The guest list glowed on my tablet, 500 confirmed, including every major philanthropist in the city. James Whitman knocked and stepped inside. The Times is here. The Journal too. They're intrigued by the mysterious announcement promised in the invitation. Good. Your family arrived 10 minutes ago. Your sister is making an entrance. Through the glass panel in the door, I saw Sophia in a scarlet Oscar de la Renta gown, moving through the room as if she owned it. Mom and Dad flanked her, their formal smiles strained in ways only I could recognize. She's telling people she's about to be named to the board, James murmured. That tonight is her formal introduction to society. In a way, I said, she's right. Marcus entered with his delegation, 5 Stone Industries board members in conservative black tie. He met my eyes through the window and gave a single nod. His expression revealed nothing. Miss Torres. A young woman approached with a press badge. Sarah Stone, Channel 7. We hear there's a major announcement about the Torres family legacy at 9 sharp. Can you give us a preview? My grandmother believed in transparency, I said. Tonight we honor that belief. She scribbled eagerly. I offered nothing more. I turned my phone back on. 47 messages. I deleted them all unread, except one from Marcus. Whatever happens tonight, your grandmother would be proud. James handed me the presentation remote. The video is ready. Just press play when you're set. I studied my reflection. Navy dress. Simple pearls. Teaching award pin on my lapel. My quiet rebellion. Not the designer gown expected of new money, but exactly what Eleanor would have chosen. Let's go, I said. It's time to let the documents speak. The Ritz-Carlton ballroom sparkled like a jewel box. Crystal chandeliers scattered rainbows across 500 guests dressed in their finest. Servers floated by with champagne flutes. Crystal, I noticed, remembering how Sophia once mocked my preference for Prosecco. I entered through the side door, avoiding the main entrance where Sophia held court. She stood beside the foundation's banner, laughing and gesturing to donors, spinning her narrative of family legacy and rightful inheritance. Isabella, Mrs. Stone, board member, no relation to Marcus, embraced me warmly. Your grandmother would love this. Her first public gala. Eleanor had always insisted on anonymity, funding quietly, avoiding recognition. Tonight would have horrified and amused her equally. Isabella Torres. A silver-haired woman stepped forward. I'm Margaret Vanderbilt. Your grandmother funded my literacy program for 10 years. I never got to thank her. Before I could answer, more people gathered. Teachers whose classrooms Eleanor had supplied. Food bank directors she had kept afloat. Scholarship recipients now running nonprofits of their own. None of them had known their benefactor's name until the invitations arrived. Across the room, I watched my parents notice the attention surrounding me. Mom's confusion turned to alarm. She whispered urgently to Sophia, who spun around, her scarlet skirt flaring dramatically. Our eyes met across a sea of glittering gowns and tuxedos. For a brief moment, fear flickered across her face. Then she lifted her chin. That Torres pride Grandma always said would be our downfall, and pushed through the crowd toward me. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC announced, dinner is served. Please find your seats. I had arranged the seating myself. Sophia at table 1 front and center. Perfect view of the podium and screen. Mom and Dad beside her. Marcus at table 2 with his board. Press scattered throughout the room. As I took my place at the head table, I felt 500 curious eyes settle on me. They had come expecting polite charity speeches and applause. They were about to witness something far more compelling. The public unraveling of a carefully constructed family illusion. Dinner was served. Filet mignon, Sophia barely touched it. She spent the courses charming her table, laughter ringing across the ballroom as she told stories of growing up with Grandma Eleanor, learning philanthropy at her side. I ate quietly watching her perform. She was good. Every gesture precise. Every anecdote crafted to crown herself Eleanor's spiritual heir. When dessert arrived, Sophia made her move. She stood, tapping her champagne glass until the room fell silent. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she said, voice perfectly projected. "But I simply can't wait any longer to share something wonderful." The MC frowned, checking his program. This wasn't scheduled. "As many of you know, I'm Sophia Torres, Eleanor Torres's granddaughter." She paused. "And I'm thrilled to announce that I'll be taking a leadership role in the foundation, working alongside my dear friend Marcus Stone to expand our mission." Marcus stood abruptly. "Sophia, that's not." "Oh, Marcus, always so modest." She laughed, that tinkling sound designed for boardrooms. "Everyone, Marcus and I have been planning incredible initiatives. The future of the Eleanor Torres Foundation. The foundation will be addressed by its actual board," Marcus said firmly. "And we are not together, Sophia. I made that clear." A buzz swept the room. Cameras that had been discreet now lifted openly. Reporters leaned forward. Sophia's composure cracked. "This is a misunderstanding," she snapped, pointing at me. "My sister manipulated everyone. She's not who you think she is." James Whitman murmured into his phone. "Security." "No." Sophia's voice rose. "You need to know the truth. Isabella is a nobody. A kindergarten teacher who earns nothing, contributes nothing. She tricked our grandmother, isolated her, stole." 2 guards approached, but I stood and lifted my hand. "Let her finish." The room fell silent. "Go ahead, Sophia," I said, my teacher's voice calm and steady. "Tell everyone exactly what you think of me. Don't hold back." She took the bait. Of course she did. "You're an embarrassment," she spat. 40,000 a year, driving that ancient Honda, shopping at Target. You're everything this family was never meant to be." "And what," I asked softly, "is our family supposed to be?" I walked toward the podium. My borrowed heels clicked against the marble. 500 faces turned. Cameras followed. Sophia stood frozen, her scarlet dress now less couture, more warning flag. "Thank you, Sophia," I said into the microphone. That was perfect timing. I clicked the remote. The foundation's logo filled the massive screen. "Good evening. I'm Isabella Torres, chairman of the board of the Eleanor Torres Foundation. For those who don't know me, which is most of you, I'm a kindergarten teacher at PS 47 in Queens." A murmur rippled through the ballroom. The contrast between my quiet truth and Sophia's grand performance could not have been sharper. My grandmother, Eleanor Torres, built this foundation over 40 years. She worked 3 jobs as a young widow, investing every extra penny, quietly building a fortune large enough to transform thousands of lives. She never wanted recognition, never desired galas like this. I clicked the remote again. Photographs filled the screen, Eleanor in food banks, classrooms, community centers, always in the background, always anonymous. But tonight we break that tradition. Because Eleanor left us one final lesson about what truly matters. Mom grabbed Sophia's arm, trying to pull her into her seat. Sophia shook her off, her cheeks flushed with fury and champagne. "Before we continue," I said, looking straight at my sister, "I should mention that 3 days ago I wasn't supposed to be here. I was uninvited from my family's Thanksgiving dinner because my profession would embarrass my sister in front of her boyfriend." Gasps echoed through the room. Cameras swung between Sophia and me. "That boyfriend," I continued, "is Marcus Stone, who's here tonight as one of our major donors. Marcus, would you confirm what Sophia told you about me?" Marcus rose slowly. "She told me Isabella was unemployed, living off family money. That she'd been institutionalized. That the family excluded her from events because she was unstable." The room erupted in shocked whispers. Sophia screamed something incoherent. "Now," I said, clicking the remote again, "let's hear what Eleanor Torres had to say." Eleanor's face filled the screen. She sat in James Whitman's office, staring into the camera with eyes that had never missed a detail. The timestamp showed the recording was made 6 months before her death. "If you're watching this," Eleanor's recorded voice echoed through the ballroom, "then something has happened that requires absolute clarity regarding my wishes." Silence. only the soft clicking of cameras. I am Eleanor Marie Torres of sound mind and body, as verified by the 3 witnesses present. The camera panned to James Whitman, Dr. Patterson, and Judge Reynolds. This recording concerns my estate and the conditions attached to it. My estate consists of $15 million in liquid assets, 3 New York properties, and controlling interest in the Eleanor Torres Foundation. I watched the color drain from my parents' faces. They had no idea this existed. This inheritance comes with one unbreakable condition. Eleanor paused, her gaze seeming to pierce Sophia directly. The beneficiary must demonstrate consistent kindness and must never discriminate based on social or economic status. This includes, specifically, never excluding family members because of their profession or income. Sophia shot to her feet, shaking. This is fake. This is. Sit down, Miss Torres, Judge Reynolds said firmly from table 3. I personally witnessed this recording. Eleanor continued. If my primary beneficiary violates this condition through witness discrimination, documented exclusion, or public dismissal of working-class professions, they will forfeit all claims immediately and permanently. The screen split in 2. On one side, Eleanor. On the other, screenshots appeared. Sophia's texts about my embarrassing job, Mom's Facebook posts explaining my exclusion, the Instagram story showing the perfect family -1. My granddaughter Sophia, Eleanor's voice softened but remained firm, has shown a pattern of valuing wealth over family, status over substance. If she has excluded Isabella for being a teacher, a profession I deeply respect, then she has failed my test. No. Sophia lunged toward the screen but security restrained her. The inheritance transfers immediately to the secondary beneficiary, Isabella Marie Torres, who has spent 8 years teaching children, volunteering every weekend, and never boasting about her connection to this foundation. The room exploded. Camera flashes lit the air. Reporters shouted questions. But Eleanor wasn't finished. James Whitman stepped onto the stage. As Eleanor's image froze behind him, he opened a leather portfolio with precise, practiced movements. Ladies and gentlemen, as executor of Eleanor Torres's estate, I am required to confirm the legal standing of what you've just witnessed. He revealed documents stamped with official seals. On November 23, 2024, Thanksgiving Day, Sophia Torres sent the following messages to her sister. He clicked the remote. The texts appeared time-stamped. Your blue-collar job would embarrass me. Stay away from my real family. You're everything our family shouldn't be. These messages, sent voluntarily and verified through cellular records, constitute a clear violation of Section 7.3 of Eleanor Torres's will. Those were private. Sophia shrieked. Post it to Instagram, James corrected, displaying the screenshot. Very public. He produced another document. Additionally, we have an email from Mrs. Linda Torres to extended family explaining that Isabella was excluded from Thanksgiving because her profession was, quote, not appropriate for the company we were keeping. Mom stood, trembling. We didn't know about the will. Irrelevant, James replied calmly. The condition isn't dependent on your knowledge. It's dependent on your character. Dr. Patterson stood. I performed monthly cognitive assessments on Mrs. Torres during her final year. Every score was perfect. She was sharper at 90 than most are at 50. Judge Reynolds added. The will was filed in court 2 years ago, reviewed by 3 independent legal teams. It is ironclad. James lifted one final document. As of this moment, Sophia Torres has forfeited all claims to the Eleanor Torres estate. The full inheritance, $15 million, the Manhattan brownstone, the Hamptons cottage, the Vermont cabin, and controlling interest in the foundation, now transfers to Isabella Torres. He turned to my parents. You were named potential trustees, with an annual stipend of $50,000. However, your participation in the discrimination disqualifies you as well. Dad collapsed into his chair. Mom's mascara streaked as she cried. This is theft. Sophia screamed. I'll sue. You'll lose, James said simply. Your own words convicted you. Sophia's meltdown was spectacular. She grabbed a champagne flute and hurled it at the screen, where Eleanor's frozen image seemed to watch in disappointment. The glass shattered against the projection. You planned this. She spun toward me, her designer dress ripping at the seam. You manipulated her. You turned her against me. I visited her, I said quietly, the microphone catching every word. Every Sunday for 2 years. You came once. I was building my career. I had important things. More important than family? I asked. That's what you told Mom, right? That Marcus and his connections mattered more than having your sister at Thanksgiving. You don't understand business. You don't understand anything. You're just a teacher. Just a teacher, I repeated, letting the words settle. Like Mrs. Davidson, whom Grandma funded for 20 years. Mr. Martinez, whose classroom she supplied. Ms. Washington, whose students she sent to college. I gestured around the room. Half the people here are teachers, social workers, nonprofit directors. The very people you believe are beneath you. Marcus stood. Sophia, you told me your family was in finance. That your grandmother was a society matron. You lied about everything. I did it to fit into your world. Sophia cried. My world. Marcus laughed bitterly. My foundation funds working-class initiatives. My mother was a seamstress. My father drove a taxi. I built my wealth to lift others up, not separate myself from them. He turned toward me. Your grandmother and I shared the same values. That's why we partnered. Partnership. Sophia's voice cracked. What partnership? The Stone Foundation is cutting all ties with your company, Marcus announced. Effective immediately. We don't work with people who discriminate against the communities we serve. The dominoes fell fast. 3 other major donors stood, announcing they too were severing relationships with Sophia's firm. Her phone lit up with frantic incoming calls from business partners. You've destroyed me, she whispered. No, Sophia. You destroyed yourself the moment you decided I wasn't good enough to sit at your table. I returned to the podium, waiting for the chaos to quiet. Security hovered near Sophia, but she had collapsed into her chair, sobbing while Mom tried uselessly to comfort her. I want to make something clear, I said, voice steady. I never wanted the money. I didn't know about the will's condition until after Grandma died. I stayed silent because I wanted my family to reveal who they truly were when they thought I had nothing to offer. I clicked the remote again. A new slide appeared. The Eleanor Torres Equal Dignity Initiative. Tonight, I announced that the entire $15 million inheritance will be donated to the foundation. It would fund a new program dedicated to underpaid essential workers, teachers, caregivers, social workers, the very people my family once considered beneath them. Applause thundered through the ballroom. Cameras flashed. The properties, I continued, will be converted into affordable housing for educators in New York City. No teacher should ever have to choose between their calling and a livable wage. More applause. I saw teachers in the audience wiping tears from their eyes. Sophia, I said, turning toward my sister, you are not cut off. I'm offering you a position in the foundation. A volunteer role, of course. 20 hours a week working directly with the communities you've dismissed. You can learn what Grandma knew. That dignity isn't determined by income. You're humiliating me, she hissed. No, I replied. I'm offering you redemption. The same chance Grandma gave me every Sunday when she taught me that wealth without compassion is just greed with better accessories. I turned to my parents. The offer extends to both of you. Family therapy is non-negotiable if you want a relationship with me going forward. Respect is no longer optional. Dad nodded slowly, understanding. Mom stared at Sophia as if seeing her for the first time. One last thing, I said, pulling out the sealed envelope James had given me. Grandma called this the nuclear option if anyone contested the will. Should I open it, Sophia? My sister shook her head violently. Terror had replaced fury. Whatever she believed was inside, she didn't want it revealed. Then we're done here. The media response was swift and merciless. BY morning. Heiress loses millions over Thanksgiving snub was trending. The New York Times ran a feature. When snobbery costs $15 million. A modern morality tale. Sophia's marketing firm lost 7 major clients in 48 hours. Her Instagram, once a shrine to luxury, flooded with comments calling out her cruelty and elitism. By day 3, she deleted all her accounts. A week later, my parents came to my apartment. They looked older, smaller. Dad spoke first. We failed you. Both of you. We created this dynamic. Mom nodded quietly. We thought success meant money. Your grandmother tried to tell us otherwise. We didn't listen. Are you willing to do the work? I asked. Real therapy. Not just apologies. They agreed. Dr. Kim, a specialist in family and class dynamics, began seeing us weekly. Marcus and I met for coffee to discuss the foundation's future. Your grandmother would be proud, he said. You handled that with more grace than I could have. She taught me that revenge makes you smaller. Justice makes you stronger. What about Sophia? He asked. She moved to Chicago. Got a job at a nonprofit, the only place that would hire her. She earns $35,000 a year now. Ironic. Educational. She sent me a letter last week, I added. The first honest thing she's written in years. I didn't tell him I hadn't opened it yet. Some wounds need time before you test their healing. The foundation's first initiative launched a month later. Emergency grants for teachers facing eviction. 300 funded in the first week. Every thank you note went into a folder labeled, "Why This Matters." My answer to anyone who questioned the value of so-called blue-collar work. 6 months later, the Times ran a follow-up story. They photographed me in my kindergarten classroom during story time, surrounded by 5-year-olds. The headline read, "The billionaire teacher who gave it all away." But the caption was my favorite. Isabella Torres, chairman of the Eleanor Torres Foundation, teaching her students about kindness. Her grandmother's greatest lesson, she says, was that dignity isn't measured in dollars. Sophia saw the article. I know because she texted. Grandma would choose you all over again. I replied. She chose both of us. You just haven't accepted the lesson yet. 6 months after the gala, I still taught kindergarten. Same alphabet posters. Same reading corner. Same circle time rug. But everything else had changed. The foundation had distributed $4 million in emergency grants to teachers. Funded 50 classroom renovations. Launched a program providing free supplies to any educator who asked. No paperwork, no justification. Eleanor would have loved the simplicity. PS 47 received a $2 million infrastructure grant. My principal cried when I handed her the check. Your grandmother never forgot us, she said. I didn't correct her. In a way, Eleanor had planned this all along. My parents continued therapy, making slow progress. Mom stopped speaking about Sophia's past success and focused instead on small present-day conversations. Dad volunteered at the foundation's weekend programs, teaching financial literacy to immigrant families. Penance, he called it. Marcus and I became unexpected allies. The Stone Foundation partnered with ours on a nationwide initiative supporting working-class families. We kept things professional, though sometimes I caught him looking at me with quiet regret for what might have been if we'd met under different circumstances. Time magazine named me Philanthropist of the Year. I wore the same navy dress from the gala to the photo shoot. The interviewer asked, "Why continue teaching when you could do bigger things?" "Because 25 5-year-olds trust me to teach them how to read," I said. There's nothing bigger than that. They mentioned Sophia only once in the article, noting she declined to comment. What they didn't know was that she had started volunteering at a Chicago food bank, 20 hours a week, just as I had suggested. The director, an old friend of Eleanor's, sent updates. "She's learning," she wrote. "Slowly, but she's learning." I kept Eleanor's photo on my desk beside crayon drawings and construction paper cards. In quiet moments, I told her about the lives we were changing. "You were right, Grandma," I'd whisper. "Standing up for what's right is lonely at first. But eventually the right people stand with you." A year after that Thanksgiving exclusion, I finally opened Sophia's letter. Purple ink. The same color she used as a child, before money and status poisoned everything. "Isabella," it began. "I used to think Grandma chose wrong. That you manipulated her. But now I work at a food bank making less than you do. Yesterday, a woman cried because we gave her groceries without making her prove she deserved them. I think I finally understand what Grandma saw. What you saw. That dignity isn't earned or bought. It's recognized, or you don't have it yourself." She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't ask for reconciliation. She simply acknowledged the truth we'd always known, but only one of us had accepted. I folded the letter and placed it in Eleanor's folder. Not the legal documents, the human ones. Thank you notes from teachers. Student drawings. Photos of families and homes created from my inheritance properties. Looking back, I could have handled Thanksgiving differently. I could have begged for inclusion, revealed my position earlier, used power to demand respect. But Eleanor taught me that respect earned through power isn't respect at all. It's fear wearing nicer clothes. The family that excluded me for being just a teacher learned that their values were bankruptcy dressed in designer labels. The inheritance they lost was never really about money. It was about understanding that the woman serving your coffee deserves the same dignity as the one buying the coffee shop. Your worth is not negotiable. It doesn't rise with your salary or fall with someone else's opinion. Stand firm in that truth even if you stand alone. Especially then. Thank you for listening to my story. This is Isabella Torres reminding you, you are enough exactly as you are. Your job does not define your worth. Your family's opinion does not determine your value. And sometimes, the greatest inheritance you'll ever receive is knowing you never needed anyone else's validation to claim your dignity. Until next time, keep standing tall even in a Target dress.